our coach here is going to start. I'm just going to go to this next slide here. So yeah, take it away.
Hey guys, how we doing? Thanks everyone for joining us today. As you can see, our speakers today from Illinois Tech. My name is Ed Ziefert. I'm our head baseball coach. I just finished my 5th calendar year there at Illinois Tech. I'm also our liaison with the admissions department. I've also run our game day management for the past 5 years, and now I'm transitioning into a role with advancement. So we're doing a lot of different things as coaches here at Illinois Tech, but I hope that can provide you a wide range of answers and experiences and not just everything from a baseball perspective. Tyler Hardy is with us, obviously, from our admissions office, and Johnny Clark is with us. I feel like Johnny Clark has been at Illinois Tech for 25 years, much longer than I have. It's probably about the same amount of time, but he's a member of our men's soccer team. So I appreciate you guys joining me here on this call, and I look forward to sharing a lot with you about our university today. Quickly, I'm going to talk about as much of this athletics part that I think is relevant in thumbnail. If you have specific questions, throw them into the chat, let us know, and then Johnny and I can definitely expand upon a lot of that. Okay. Our mission is up there. You guys can read it word for word there, but basically what we believe in here at Illinois Tech is saying yes. All right. Division III NCAA athletics, high-end academics, high-end engineering, high-end architecture. We're located in the heart of the city of Chicago. We're 31 blocks south from a lot of the pictures that you guys would see on TV of Chicago. The Bean, the Fountain, that theaters district and all that. We're 31 blocks dead south of that, 5 L stops away. Okay. So what we have to focus on top of your academics and on top of your athletics is your professional development and your ability to take advantage of our city. All right. The public transportation in our university is free to use as a student. Okay. And that is so that you can have a professional networking ability. You can have an internship. You can have a cultural experience. You can do those type of things. All right. So our mission really is about being a complete person, right? Being an athlete, being a student, being someone that's there to grow culturally and to grow professionally. Okay. All right. There's a list of our teams. Basically, we have all the big boys except football. All right. So we're going to play soccer. We're going to play baseball. And all those things. Lacrosse is starting to become huge for us, and we could use some swimmers and some cross-country runners. So if you're fast, come on over. We're looking for you. All right. Just quickly, we have over 250 student athletes on campus, 17 teams, 11 coaches, and then our top majors, as I kind of mentioned earlier, engineering, architecture, business. We're also highly competitive and well-trained in the pre-professional studies, especially pre-med and pre-law, where we have a 3-3 program with one of the best intellectual property law schools in the country. Okay. A lot of our guys will also end up in computer science, ITM management, which is information technology management, and those types of things. John, am I missing any big majors there?
No, you're doing good.
All right. Awesome. Thanks, John. As I mentioned earlier, we're NCAA Division III. In a nutshell, what does that mean? That means we can give you money for academics and merit-based aid. We cannot take into account in the financial aid process your athletic ability, so we do not. That does not make us uncompetitive on the financial aid spell and all those other things, but that's Tyler's department. We are going to play a very competitive schedule. We are very competitive in most sports at the moment. We are getting better in the ones that we are not in. And our conference is the Northern Athletics Conference. I think we'll talk about this earlier, but we stay in that greater Chicagoland area and then the greater Milwaukee area. Okay. Chicago to Milwaukee, just under 2 hours. Basic standards to stay eligible, I think, are pretty across the board. At most places, we're 2.0 with 24 hours passed in your last 2 semesters. So basically, you're constantly making progress toward graduation. We are a high-end academic school. We do not have a ton of guys on that 2.0 border. All right, it doesn't happen very much, and if it does, there's a big problem going on. Okay, but basically, to be eligible at our place, you have to be making progress toward graduation. A lot of people and a lot of parents are asking us, what do we do for the student athlete that is struggling in class, or how can we balance academics and athletics. Okay. And there's a lot of ways to answer that question. And John, when I'm done here on this slide, why don't you share some experiences, okay, to kind of give some of that personal touch. In baseball, we talk about a 3-tiered academic support system. First, we start in the dugout, right? So any major that we have, any class that our guy is going to take, someone in our dugout's probably already taken it with that professor. So there's nobody more invested in our kid than his teammate on site, okay? So we try to keep that in-house if we can. If we can't, we have the Academic Resource Center. The Academic Resource Center is awesome, all right? Every class has a assigned tutor. Every tutor can be used, at the convenience of both the student and the tutor. Those tutoring sessions can happen anywhere on campus at any time of the day. And they just really have the resources there to help all sorts of problems and all sorts of classes and kind of do all those things. And then you can obviously use your professor during office hours and TAs and those type of things. I think that academic resource center is a huge help in time management, especially with our young guys. And making sure that they have what they need to be successful from a resource perspective, from a tool perspective, and those type of things. Obviously, with COVID, things are a little bit different as far as using that physical space that we've always used, but they're very available. The tutors are very available. The professionals, the adults in that room are very available. And I think we do a good job of making sure that our student athletes feel supported academically. John, I'll throw this to you here for a couple of seconds. Can you speak to that from a personal perspective?
There's not much I can elaborate on that you haven't said. Yes, we help each other out, especially on team, because on soccer, there's about 25 to 30 of us, even I think more now on the team, and we all have we all have different majors, but most of us have the same major. And over the years, I've been one of the only ones that have civil, but all the some young guys are coming into civil, and I've been helping them out with all their classes, helping them understand how to do their workload and making sure they get the assignments turned in on time and prepare for exams.
So just quickly, a day in the life of an athlete. So, sport to sport, this will vary, okay? But for the most part, a lot of our teams do try to work out earlier in the day, early in the morning. There's less class there, or there's no class conflict, okay? So from a baseball perspective, we practiced it 1 or 2 times a day. We usually, in the first semester, we will lift early in that 6:30 a.m. start range. And then they have the rest of the day to go to class, to meet with professors, to do research, to have an internship, to be a part of their professional clubs and those type of things on campus. And those things are unimpeded. When we move into second semester, when we're going to play, right, there's a few more factors involved. So we shift that to the night. So we'll start practice at 8 or 9 o'clock at night, depending on facility usage, assistant coaches, some of those other things that we have to deal with that are unique to us. But you're going to have usually that beginning part of the day. Most of our teams use that. Our kids will usually go to breakfast together. After that, you have your classes, and then you kind of have the rest of your day. The other thing that schedule allows us to do is keep you on a 6 to 8 hour sleep schedule, which the non-student athlete oftentimes throws out the window at the college level, and they're going to school in pajamas. We don't love that, right? We want our guys up, we want to move, and we want them showered for that 8:35 a.m. class. So again, John, anything you want to pop in there about what it's like to be a student athlete here? And
yeah, well, in the day of athlete, that organization of the schedule basically sums up really, but also depending on for us with soccer, we give our coach, our whole team gives our coach our schedule so he can work practices around that to make sure he gets as many of us there at practice as possible, so we can be prepared for our upcoming games.
So Tyler, go ahead and just kind of hit these slides, every couple of seconds here. You're not gonna slow me down. But so athletic travel, we always are going to travel for the most part in style. You're going to be in buses. Most of the time they have internet capabilities because we are a high-end academic school. My first trip I ever took, just quick story, I was told that I had to be quiet on the way to our event. I was not allowed to talk and I was unprepared. I was ready to get on a bus and screw around and throw paper at the kids and or whatever, and they needed to study. They said we could have fun on the way home. So we prepare for our kids in that bus ride to be a study zone as much as it is, a fraternization and kind of a fun zone. We will travel as a part of our conference. By the time any of you get onto campus, St. Norbert's will be involved in our conference. So that will take us from Chicago, Illinois to Green Bay. Wisconsin will go as far west as Rockford and Madison, which are kind of in that same north-south line in the middle of both states. Okay, so it's a pretty cool triangle. You get to see a lot of the Midwest and all of that. And then each team is taking different trips. We were supposed to go to California last year. I've taken my team to Arizona and Florida. Men's soccer specifically has gone to Ireland. The women's basketball team has been to Puerto Rico. The men's basketball team has been to California. The volleyball teams have traveled to the Pacific Northwest and to the Northeast and played it at MIT and some of those other places. So I think our coaches and our teams do a great job of not just giving you a Midwest Chicago experience, but giving you as much of a national experience as we can. Okay. The facilities here, we'll go through this real quick. This is our workout facility here. It's actually changed quite a bit. We've opened it up and created a new space for a lot of the selectorized stuff that you've seen. The floor on the gym that you see there with the big hawk, that floor is less than 5 years old or right at 5 years old. And a lot of the things inside that gym are brand new. You can see the scoreboard on the bottom of that picture. That's brand new. That's within 2.5 years. So you'll see a lot of our facilities have been constantly updated. Keep rolling through these, Ty. You can see a lot of our facilities have just been constantly updated. The ones that haven't been, we use offsite stuff for. So you see Excess Tennis right here. That's a state-of-the-art high-end tennis facility a few blocks south of campus, where our tennis team gets just an unbelievable opportunity and experience to play. And then we use the city. Okay, so you see a Lakefront Trail here, for a cross-country runners. I mean, Lake Michigan, if you've never seen it, looks like an ocean. If you've seen an ocean, they're very similar. Running along that every day is beautiful and awesome. And then some of our teams will use Dunbar Park, which is just to the east of our campus. Okay, there's our soccer facility there, also our lacrosse facility, and then the baseball field. And that's looking almost toward the lake there. If you looked right down the left field line, you'd be looking at the skyline of the city. Okay, and then I think we've got our staff coming up here. We need to make a couple updates to this, but our staff here is been together now for the most part for the last 3 or 4 years. So we're excited about the coaches that we have and where we are going with those things. It's our athletic training staff. They're the best in the business. All of our, this is the other question we get from parents a lot. What happens if we get sick or injured? You'll see Dr. Ganad there. All of our doctors are through the Rush medical system, which is one of the top medical systems in the country. We love their system. We love the research that they do. We love the access to just the high-end treatment that we get. And Dr. Ganad does a phenomenal job, as do Chapin and Sarah. And then we got Johnny. And I think this next set here, John, I think there's a bunch of questions on here, and I don't know that I threw all those things at you while we were doing this. And Tyler, if you want to moderate, go ahead, man. I want to get you involved here too. I talk a lot.
No, all good. As we wrap up the athletic session, I wanted a chance for John to just talk about his experiences as like a student athlete at Illinois Tech. So I guess the first one was, how was your journey of getting admitted to college, and what were the highs and lows for you?
Well, my journey really started during the summer of my senior year of high school, where I'd been applying to many different universities all around US and Canada. And it wasn't until late into my senior year of high school that I've actually found IIT through my coach spotting me on one of my recruiting websites. And I came up for camp, and out of all the places I've experienced at camps, I felt more at home here at IIT. They made me feel more welcome than any place I've ever been. And that's why one of the reasons I love this place, because I had experience with the team, with my future teammates at that time, with the coach. It was great.
Awesome. Next question is, I guess you may have already covered this, possibly. So I think we can move on to this next one here.
Well, another thing like Sidechain with that biggest challenge of applying as a student athlete is like making sure you get the right school that has your degree that you want to do and you can play. Like here, academics is first, and then basically the athletics is the bonus. But
Yeah.
only is the academics.
Yeah, that's true. You have to make sure they have the sport that you want and the major programs. It all sort of has to fall in your lap in that way. So how are you managing your time commitment to sports versus academics? I think you touched on this briefly.
Yeah, briefly touched on this with, I said, my coach, makes us all give him our class schedule so he can organize practices around them, so we can all be able to get to the practices as much as we can. And during like last year, with having more advanced classes, more night classes, I couldn't make like 1 or 2 practices, but I managed to make most of them as well. And plus, through my time management of academics and my sports, I've actually even been able to have a part-time job at Athletic Center as well.
Oh, wow. What's the part-time job that you do?
I'm one of the supervisors at the front desk to
Awesome.
the Keating Sports Center.
Awesome. This next one, I guess, what is it like living in Chicago? Or I guess going to school in Chicago? What stands out about it for you?
It's just a different setting to what I'm used to. For like when I was growing up, I never really had tall buildings, but in Niagara Falls, I never really lived in the city part of Niagara Falls, more like the suburbs part. I never really visited much city. So being here very close to the city, I remember first time here, I just looked up at the buildings, I saw all the skyscrapers. I'm like, wow, these buildings can be actually big.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Especially when you're in like the Loop, the downtown area, you're just surrounded by skyscrapers. It's a cool feeling.
I love this place.
Yeah. And what stands out about your major? So could you tell us a little bit about your program, what you're studying, and you are also doing the accelerated master's program, correct?
Yes, I'm studying civil engineering and doing my co-terminal degree and getting my master's in construction engineering and management. And what stands out is like this opportunity to be able to get a master's at accelerated rate is one of the reasons why I also chose this school, because it's a great opportunity. You can save a lot of money as well. So you don't have to go to another university, reapply, and then spend even more money, more years there as well.
Yeah. I'll go into the accelerated master's program a little bit on the admissions slide right now. But yeah, John is one of our students that is doing that accelerated program where he can finish his graduate degree in 1 year as opposed to 2 years.
I'm also involved like outside the classroom I'm part of our ASCE student chapter here, which is American Society of Civil Engineers. And with that, we have like weekly meetings where we bring in guest speakers from companies, contractors around Chicago to speak with us about their corporation and such. And we also been able to compete in this conference opportunity event where we have different little events all related to civil engineering. And one particular event I've been associated with is our steel bridge competition. And I've been doing that since my freshman year. And it's been a really good learning experience. So
what is the steel bridge competition, if you don't mind just elaborating?
A competition where they get this AISC, they give us a scenario type, and we have to build a bridge depending on the scenario to different lengths. Our bridge, we actually managed to make it to the 2018 National Conference, where we competed against schools all around the US, Canada, and Mexico, and I believe 1 or 2 schools from China as well. And basically it's about, depending on the circumstances, it could be between 18 feet to 20, 22, 24 feet long bridges that have to support a certain amount of weight with minimal deflection. And we have to build it in as fast as possible, really.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. What a great like hands-on, I guess, opportunity to do something with your major as well. That's really cool. Let's see here, I think. Okay. And I think there's one more question that I have here for you. Ed, if you have anything else to add or anything that you think John or you'd like to cover, feel free. But for this last question, what advice do you have for future student athletes, specifically ones that are looking to apply for maybe a STEM school?
Any advice? Let's see. My advice is really not towards the STEM like you want it, but my advice is for when you actually do come here and you actually become a student athlete, just enjoy the experience. Enjoy playing the sport you love at a collegiate level, at this high level that you can, and make a lot of friends. You will make a lot of friends, and just enjoy yourselves, really.
Great advice. Thank you.
Yeah, and I think my advice probably comes more from the coaching perspective at this point. And I think, the more that I have experienced this COVID pandemic and seen the effects that it has, I've been impressed with students and their families and their commitment to what I call our priorities, right? Faith and family, academics, then athletics. I think in the past we've been hung up on what level you're going to play at and some of those other things. And you're seeing athletic programs get cut. You're seeing games disappear. You're seeing, kids stay in college longer because they can, especially at the higher levels. And you're seeing roster spots kind of spread less diversely to anyone and everybody. So my advice is have your priorities straight from the beginning. Understand what it is that you want to study, understand what it is in the college experience, and see if you can fit those two priorities into an athletic experience. So irregardless of, Division I, NAI, Division III, junior college, find what makes your life path the best and try to find an academic or an athletic experience that fits into that development.
Awesome. I think that's a great way to wrap up the athletic section. Did we have any questions specifically from students that maybe were asked, toward the coach or John at all?
Yeah. Well, we got somebody here. Let me. Janet, yeah, you can go and speak.
Yes. Am I unmuted?
You're unmuted.
Okay. Yes, I have several questions. Hi, I'm an independent college admissions counselor. Thrilled to know more about Illinois Tech. I was most impressed earlier today. Usually tech schools aren't gorgeous campuses, but I learned pretty quickly that Mies van der Rohe had designed some of your buildings. And obviously your School of Architecture is quite incredible. And this school is considered one of the most beautiful in the US. So I'm extremely impressed to hear that. And I have a couple of questions. One of which is, my families are always worried about tuition, room and board, total costs. And when there's no athletic scholarship, what might be the maximum academic merit scholarship that a student might get enrolling at Illinois Tech?
Yeah, great question. I can take that one. I'll be covering that in the admissions side of the presentation, but I'd be happy to answer it right now. I'd say students in general, all students that apply by November 15th are going to be considered for a minimum $25,000 merit scholarship annually. And this is for international, domestic, Canadian. Again, I'll go over the specific numbers regarding tuition amount before scholarships in some next slides. So just hang tight for that.
Sure. Shall I hold off on further questions?
Janet, if you had any athletic specific questions, Janet,
yeah.
An answer, then
no, mine are more academic.
Okay.
I actually have a question that came in right now. It's more, it's a kind of to echo what Coach was talking about with respect to roster spots. kind of moving around, obviously athletic sports being canceled. What's your advice for students who who are preparing themselves to play collegiate level sport at NCAA, whether it's Division 1, 2, or 3, promoting themselves to coaches when it's being very, very difficult? You can't get in front of coaches can't get in front of you physically. What would be your advice if you have a student athlete here from Canada, kind of getting things ready? They're in grade 9 and preparing to start their journey to apply to the NCAA.
Yeah, so I'll take that one, Ty. Be relentless is what I'm going to tell you, and let me define what that is. If you're 2021 and you don't have that scholarship offer, it's probably not coming, right? So you're starting to look at the non-scholarship route and all that other stuff. So again, your priority structure and what you want in that experience and those type of things. And then be relentless to that coach. Make him tell you no. Make her tell you no, whatever the situation is. So I'll tell you right now, we're recruiting a kid out of the Washington, D.C. area. And the only reason that we're still recruiting him is because he wouldn't leave me alone. And one of the things that specifically told me, right? And I told him, I don't think he's good enough to play for us. I told him that, and he didn't care, which told me little bit of something. But it told me that Illinois Tech is important to him, and that being here in our program is important to him. And even if he doesn't think, or even if he knows that I don't think he's good enough to play for us right now, he is more than willing to prove me wrong, right? So be relentless and make the coach tell you no. Unfortunately, we're all doing all of this recruiting now online and through email. So let's say a year ago at this time, I was getting 30 emails a day. I might be getting 90 to 100 a day from prospective recruits at times. And I'm getting it from the 2021 class. I'm getting it from the 2022 class. I'm getting it from the 2023 class. Way too many from the 2023 class for our level. And I've had some 2024s start to reach out. So freshmen in high school, like some people are bored at home, right? But that's what's happening, and that's what's filling up in our inboxes. So sometimes things get missed. So if you want to be at Illinois Tech, be relentless to that, right? If you want to be at University X, Y, and Z, be relentless to that and make that coach tell you no from that perspective.
What I love about that answer is, we have a lot of coaches that joined us recently, and they have all the same answers, which is pretty fair. There is a fine line between being persistent and then being really annoying. but I think at one point, if you're really dedicated towards a school and you're really passionate about it, it's worth it. It's worth it being relentless, and you never know when a coach will recognize that as a plus, right? So that's some great advice. Thanks. And one thing, Coach, we got a lot of questions on this. What's your advice when you have got students emailing you? You mentioned you get 50 emails a day, sometimes even 100. Coaches have mentioned before that be careful how you build your template, who you're sending these emails out to. But what's your advice when it comes to somebody emailing you and grabbing your attention?
So for me, I would like to see that subject heading line with name, grad year, position, academic, test scores, and/or GPA, and maybe a quick description of yourself. So 2021, MINF stands for middle infielder, 6'8", 60, 1500 ACT, engineering major. That goes, okay, I'm going to pay attention to this first because this pertains to what we do here, right? If I see an email that says, I want to play baseball at your place, or great kid, right? Which I get more than I would think, right? It tells me nothing about you, and I have to triage my time in the beginning. So if you give me a description of what you play, one thing about you, right? It could be monster left-handed bat, 86 mile an hour pitcher, anything like that, plus your academics. Those two things plus academics will triage you to the top of my pile quickly. Everything else I have to sift through.
So throw it in the subject line. I think that's an important.
Yes, absolutely.
I would say 99% of folks don't think of that. Yeah,
Yes.
I would say 99% of people don't think of that. I mean, throwing it in the subject line, because you would imagine subject lines are short and sweet, but a coach getting so many emails, the first thing they see is a subject line. So that's some great advice. Thanks so much. That's all the questions I got here. And Tyler, if you want to take it over for the academic portion.
John and Ed, if I think you guys are free to log off if you'd wanted to, 'cause you might have something else going on right now, but I can handle the rest as well. It's up to you guys. Thanks for
what I'll do is I'll turn my camera off, and then if you need me at the end, then just holler for me and I'll stay.
Okay.
I'll stay.
Sounds
Thanks,
good.
Tyler. Thanks to everybody for being here.
Yep.
Really appreciate the opportunity to talk to all you guys.
Yeah,
Thanks.
really appreciate you guys helping out. Okay. So now here's the admissions portion. We have about 20 minutes. I think I'll be able to get through all of it in that amount of time. But as you can see, this is just a picture highlighting our main Mies campus, which was designed by famous architect Mies van der Rohe. There's a ton of cool buildings on the campus itself. If you look in that bottom right-hand corner, that's actually one of our dorms, which I'll go into in a little bit. In the top right corner, you get a view of Lake Michigan. There's just a lot going on, a lot to do, a lot to see in Chicago. If you did want to receive any more information from us, there'll be this QR code throughout the presentation. Feel free to scan it, and then you'll be able to sign up to get communication from us. And this sort of just highlights where all of our students are from. We're hoping to grow the Canadian population. Right now, we have 3 undergraduate students from Canada, but we are hoping to grow it even more throughout the years going forward. And I guess just focusing on Illinois Tech's location. We are located about 15 to 20 minutes south of the main downtown loop area. And so what that means is you can basically get to that downtown area via public transportation using the red line, green line, orange lines to get to that downtown area. And all students do get a U-Pass through their tuitions. They're able to travel throughout the city using this U-Pass during the spring and fall semesters. So it is very, very convenient. In terms of the campus size, we are a smaller campus, but that just means basically you can wake up 20 minutes before your class and get to class on time. In terms of our specific location, we're located in the historic Bronzeville and Bridgeport area. We're right by the Chicago White Sox baseball stadium, actually, along with being near a bunch of museums. About a stop north of us is also Chinatown. So I know some students do like to hang there, get some great Chinese food, Korean food. And then the further north you go, there's, again, a lot of great museums, cultural spots. People like to hang out along Lake Michigan during the summer months when it's a bit warmer. So there's quite a bit to do within Chicago. And then a little bit about our campus makeup. Our undergraduate population is about 3,000. So we are a smaller institution, but in a big city. Transfer students make up about 25% of each entering fall class. And we are more in grad law student heavy, about 3,500. But that just means that our undergraduate students have these great opportunities for research and collaboration with graduate students as well. Our student to faculty ratio is 12 to 1. So for every 12 students, there's 1 professor. And that's quite a great number compared to other institutions. I know it can be 20 to 1, 24 to 1, depending on where it is. And I think that's something that really stands out about us because we are in a big city, but we do have these small class sizes. All 50 states are represented, and our undergraduate population is actually 17% international. Once you get to the grad level, it goes up to around 50% international. So it is a very, very international campus. And our retention rate is around 88%. So between the first and second year, 88% of our students choose to stay with us. And then briefly, I'm just going to cover some of the colleges. Again, you can scan that QR code on the left if you want to get a list of all of our majors. You can scan the QR code on the right if you wanted to input your information to get more information from us. So we have 5 undergraduate colleges at Illinois Tech. They are the Armour College of Engineering, which houses majors like aerospace engineering, mechanical engineering, computer engineering, among many, many others. And then our College of Architecture houses our 5-year architecture degree. So normally architecture programs can be 4 years, and then you'd have to do a 2-year graduate degree to become a certified architect. But with our program, it is a bachelor's of architecture. So it's a 5-year program, and you'd be able to take that exam to be a certified architect after those 5 years, get out into the workforce, do what you want to do after graduation sooner. And our College of Architecture is the #1 ranked College of Architecture within the Midwest and within the top 15 in the United States. So that's something we're quite proud of. One of our other top schools is College of Computing. It houses such majors like computer science, our quite new artificial intelligence major, information technology and management, among many, many others. And then we have the Lewis College of Science and Letters. This houses our typical sciencey majors like chemistry, biophysics, physics, along with other humanities related majors like global studies, and then our general humanities degree. Those majors in particular aren't going to be as STEM intensive compared to, the engineering, the chemistry, but it is an option for students that may want to go to a STEM institution, but maybe don't feel the strongest in math, but still want to be surrounded with people that like STEM. And then finally, our Stewart School of Business. We have one major in this school, business administration. And I think one of the benefits of studying business at a STEM institution is that you get that STEM background and that business background. And you're seeing who's successful nowadays, those, top CEOs, Elon Musk, they have that STEM and business background. I know a lot of our students do like to minor in business as well, so to pair it with their STEM degree as well. Besides that, we have over 50 minors like AI, entrepreneurship, music, game design, architecture, just many different programs. And then we have some special programs. These are mostly open to domestic students, so I'm not going to cover that so much. And then we have over 90 professional masters as well, with a Master of Science and a few doctoral programs too. And then one thing that we mentioned earlier is the Accelerated Master's Program. And this is what John is actually doing right now. This allows you to earn your graduate degree at the undergraduate tuition rate in as few as 5 years. So I want to say maybe your second or third year, you'd kind of start talking with your academic advisor, and you'd maybe determine, hey, I want to get an accelerated master's degree. We have some pairings here. So for example, you could go for a BS in applied mathematics, then do an MS in computer science. You would be able to finish your graduate degree in 1 year as opposed to 2 years. So your total time at Illinois Tech would be 5 years as opposed to 6 years. And you would still pay that same undergraduate tuition rate with that same scholarship that you were awarded for your undergraduate years for that last 5th year. So there are a few predetermined combinations available. You can look through our website for them. But if there's a different combination that you may want to do that's not on our website, you can sort of speak with your academic advisor about that as well. Some hallmarks of an Illinois Tech education. So what basically sets us apart from maybe other institutions or another STEM institution? We do have what we call the Introduction to the Profession course. So all students take this their first semester. It introduces them to research and careers within their major. So if you are a mechanical engineering major, you would take an ITP course for mechanical engineering. And it basically helps you see or determine if this major is the right fit for you. At that point, if mechanical engineering is not something you're interested in at all, and you'd maybe want to look into civil engineering, you could work with your academic advisor to determine a way to maybe switch majors or go in another path. But then again, it may also reaffirm that your major is the right choice for you as well. And another thing that stands out about Illinois Tech is our IPRO program. This is our interprofessional project program. So all students complete 2 of these during their time at Illinois Tech. Basically, you're getting into groups with students from other majors. There's some feedback, I think. Okay. So basically, you get into groups with other majors. So maybe you're a mechanical engineering major, you'd be in a group with an architecture major, a business major, physics major, and you work together to identify real world problems and then come up with a solution to that problem. So just an example of this is that we are right by the White Sox baseball stadium. They needed a new way to measure how far the ball was going outside of the stadium for home runs. So they got an Illinois Tech IPRO team together, and they were actually able to develop the system for the White Sox, and they still use parts of this system to this day. So it's great real world application for our students, and it sort of connects them with sponsored companies and nonprofits as well. And then Elevate. So this platform basically just houses all our external opportunities, whether it's on and off campus research, internships and co-ops, study abroad, and other short courses and competitions. And then campus life. Though we are a STEM institution and our students do take their academics very, very seriously, our students like to have fun. They like to be involved outside of the classroom as well. So we have over 150 plus student organizations. As we mentioned earlier, around 17 NCAA Division III teams and over 660 student events held on campus each year. In regard to student life, as I mentioned, over 150 plus student organizations ranging from robotics, journalism, urban farming, dance. We have 8 fraternities and 2 sororities on campus as well for students that are interested in getting involved with Greek life. And we do have intramural athletics and fitness classes too for students that may not want to get involved specifically in NCAA sports, or maybe they're involved with that, but they want to do something on the side. That's an option too. And then esports. Esports is quite popular at Illinois Tech as well. We actually have a new esports lounge on campus. You can look in that top left corner, that picture there. It's really cool. It's open to everyone. So if you do come, I highly, highly encourage you to check it out. And then finally, we have an on-campus hangout spot called The Bog, which is actually underneath one of our academic buildings, and it houses an 8-lane bowling alley, arcade games, billiards, performances with karaoke and live bands. And in the back, there's actually a bar for students that are of age as well. So it's a great place for students to hang out if they don't want to leave campus or don't want to leave their dorm. But outside of this, I do want to reiterate that you are in the 3rd largest city in the United States, Chicago. So there's so much to do outside of our campus itself as well, ranging from, cultural events, music festivals, when, that was more of a thing, hanging out on the beach, eating out. So there's quite a lot to do within the city itself. And then housing. I'm not going to cover all this right now because I think we're running out of time. But these are just a few of the housing options that we have on campus. 70% of Illinois Tech students live on campus, so we are a very campus-heavy school. All students are required to live their first 2 years on Illinois Tech's campus, unless they live within a 20-mile radius of our campus. Otherwise, after those 2 years, they can choose to move into an upperclassman dorm or move off campus. So now I'm sure this is what you're most curious about, a little bit about the admission and financial aid process. So we do have a free application. So for fall admission, international students living outside of the US have until May 15th to apply, but we do have a priority scholarship deadline of November 15th of this year, which I'll go into going forward. And what I mean by rolling admission is that when you apply, once we get all your materials in, you should be receiving a decision within 2 weeks. We don't have early decision, early action. It's just rolling admission. And then our first year class profile. So this is the middle 50% of admitted students. So what that means is the middle 50% achieved these numbers, but 25% were over them, and then 25% were under them. So the middle 50% of admitted students were in the top 10% of the graduating class, weighted GPA between a 4 and a 4.36. Remember, 25% were above that, 25% were below. And then the SAT, ACT numbers were between this amount. The good news is that we are test optional for this next year, and I'll go into that in the coming slides here. And we do super score if you do submit multiple SAT scores. Oops. All right. So what we need to apply. So as a Canadian student, obviously, you wouldn't have to submit any TOEFL, IELTS, English proficiency scores. But we do need at least 3 years of high school transcripts and 1 letter of recommendation. And then you can apply through that link there or through the Common App as well. Again, we are test optional, so you may submit SAT or ACT scores if you wish, but they're not required. In terms of recommended coursework, we like to see 4 years of English, 4 years of math, 4 years of engineering or science, and 2 years of social science. For those that are applying towards, say, maybe mechanical engineering, computer science, those really STEM-heavy majors, we're going to be looking primarily for A's and B's in math-related courses, science-related courses. If you get like a C in like a history course 1 year, that's not the end of the world for us. Because again, we're looking at those STEM-specific grades when reviewing your application. And then college costs. This did not come up right. So this on the right hand here, this is our total cost of attendance before scholarships. So we do have a minimum $25,000 per year scholarship that we award to international and domestic students if they're admitted and apply by November 15th, 2020. So that'll be taken off that total amount. We also do, which I meant to add to the scholarship, we have a new full tuition scholarship for international students as well as domestic students. In the past, it was just for domestic students. It's called the Leadership Academy Scholarship. There is a separate application for it. So I'd encourage you to look this up. Just look up Leadership Academy Scholarship, Illinois Tech in Google. It'll pop up. There's a separate application for that. It covers all of the tuition, but it would not cover room and board fees or health insurance. Do be aware though that this is a very, very highly competitive scholarship. Last year, when it was just open to domestic students, there were 10 spots open and only 4 students were able to get it. So do keep that in mind specifically. It is open to international students. Again, I'll put it in the chat. So what it's called. So the Leadership Academy Scholarship. Okay.
Tyler, we do have somebody who's in their hand. I'm not sure if you want to take some questions.
What's that? Yeah, I can take some questions. I'm basically at the end here. I think I just wanted to highlight this page here. So if anyone that's curious about learning what students are doing after Illinois Tech, we do have a career outcomes page, so you can filter it by major and see, what % of mechanical engineering majors were employed full time after graduating with us within 6 months. So either go to this link or scan this QR code here, and it'll take you to that. But yeah, I'm happy to take a question.
Okay, Janet.
Yes.
Okay, you can go ahead and ask your question.
Okay, thanks for giving the scholarship and the tuition room and board and those figures. What if a student is not sure which engineering program he or she might like? You have, I think it's that sounds wonderful. When you're first starting, you have an individual thing that you do that, I've lost my initials here, where students find out more about their major, but what if they're not sure if it's mechanical engineering? They want to learn more about engineering, generally speaking. Can you do that?
Yes. So we do, for students that are looking to apply, we do have an undecided engineering major that students can apply to as well. So they would just take those prerequisite courses, those first 2 semesters, basically, just so they're still in the same track. But then after that, they can work with their academic advisor to determine, which engineering track they'd want to do.
Okay, I have some that are like that. Excellent. I wanted to ask Jonathan something, which I bet his parents are interested in. With all these wonderful connections that he's making doing this 5-year degree, does he think that he might stay in the United States, or Is he considering coming back to Canada? Does he have any plans? That's something parents are always worried about. I send him off to the US, he'll never come back.
I've been looking around the US, Canada. I've been open to anywhere that gives me a job right now. That's what I'm looking for, but I've always been interested in coming back to Canada for work.
Sure. Oh, okay. Thanks. That's a great.
I think that's a good answer. Yeah, anywhere where you can get a job.
Sure. Thank you.
You're welcome.